everyone, I'm Sarah Siegel with Orsden, and we are here this morning in New York City at Manhattan Kayak and Sup on the Hudson River. I'm here with Eric, and we're going to talk about stand-up paddleboarding. So stand-up paddleboarding is a great activity for you to do to stay in shape during the off-season for skiing, wherever you are, in the city like we are today, or in the mountains. Also, if it's a little chilly when you're out there on the water, you can throw on your Orsden jacket, of course, to stay dry and warm. But Eric's going to talk through some of the essentials for stand-up paddleboarding, how it relates to skiing, and we're also here to answer any questions that you have. So feel free to type them in the comments below, and we'll answer them either in the live stream or afterwards. So with that, Eric, do you want to tell us a little bit about Manhattan Kayak and Sup?
You bet. So we're here at Manhattan Kayak and Sup. Used to be Manhattan Kayak Company for many years, and been doing this for 20 years on the Hudson River, bringing paddle sports to the community. About 8 years ago, we saw it happening. Laird Hamilton was in Outside Magazine on his stand-up paddleboard, and I said to myself, wow, you get to paddle on a surfboard? This is fantastic. And ever since, we've been all in on this unbelievable new sport. It is the fastest growing water sport and one of the fastest growing outdoor sports in the world. Stand-up paddleboarding is, in my opinion, kind of the best of both worlds, the surfer world and the paddling world. It brought me from my butt onto my feet again, which I really liked, being a track athlete, soccer athlete, boxer, and so forth. And it just brought that extra athleticism to the equation. Stand-up paddleboarding involves, or SUPs, of different shapes and sizes. And one of the most effective for the waters we have in New York City is this model right here. It's called a Big Wing. It's 12 feet 6 inches long, 30 inches wide. It has a nose, which is the front of the board, a tail, which is the back of the board, and the rails, which are the side. The balance point is this area where there's also a handle, and that's the place where we always put our feet adjacent to. So this is the point of the board where everything is stable and as balanced as it can be, and the best point from which to execute our strokes and our maneuvers. In regards to what this is all about, the principles of stand-up paddleboarding and moving it forward are the same as other paddle sports, except you have this longer single paddle. And the idea is to get a beautiful reach out in front of the board. Take a nice solid stroke using your whole body. And this is the big reveal.
So this is, do you want to talk to us a little bit about how this relates to skiing, and will keep you in shape for the slopes?
You bet. So you can see right away, this is indoors, but it's on some wobble boards, which are very typical to indoor training. And you can see right away that I have this, one of the early aspects of learning how to paddle is, we call it the triangle pose, just to get your balance when you get on the board. And it's just holding the paddle out in the front and getting this sense of moving the board from what we call rail to rail. And you'll see it has a certain similarity to skiing, where you're weighting and unweighting to some degree from side to side. Stand-up paddleboards are also known to do things like SUP yoga and SUP boot camps. So you can do squats on your boards while you're warming up to go out for a paddle, and all of a sudden you can do holds. So for downhill skiing and getting the strong butt muscles and the quads and ankles, and always what this is always about is the core, and it's using your whole body. And any good sportsman, whatever the sport may be, certainly skiing at its higher levels, is all about the kinetic chain from the feet to the fingertips. And that is the same with stand-up, where we're using our whole body to paddle with, not just the arms and shoulders. So typically, most people who rent and learn at a lake or a pond or a sheltered bay will simply use their arms and shoulders.
Okay.
Extremely normal. Okay. And what we teach and what we need here is the ability to use the whole body.
So that would be a difference doing it out on a river versus a flatter, more gentle surface?
Yeah, so what happens is typical to either treating an activity as pure recreation, casual recreation, or a sport is way people usually self-teach themselves is not really the optimal way, is it?
And same for skiing.
Exactly right. And for our river, we have waves, we have boat traffic, we have tidal current, We have lots of things out there. Same thing for mountain locations where you have whitewater. It's stand-up paddleboarding in shorter, wider, rounder vessels like this are hitting the creeks and the rivers in mountain locations. And so stand-up paddleboarding in rivers and streams in mountain locations is becoming super popular too. And that's huge balance. And so for skiing, there's no doubt that it maintains the proprioception and the full kinetic chain. You can do skiing related exercises, but just the activity itself and just getting out in the wind and the waves and having to balance while doing a full body activity is sometimes when we're out in certain wave formations, it feels like you're in the moguls. Because as big waves start coming, you start to you absorb them with your whole body and then ride over them. So it feels, often I feel like I'm out in the moguls,
doing a bump run.
In a bump run, exactly right.
Great. So say someone wants to get started in the activity, what resources should they check out and what do you recommend to get going?
So I'm a teacher of sport, right? One of my most ardent clients is a ski instructor, slash investment banker. His passion is sport, but in any case, we both kind of see eye to eye in that especially if you're learning and want to get really good at something, want to really participate and feel the true joy of an activity, it's nice to learn from an instructor somewhere right away. Obviously, here in New York City, we feel like we're pretty convenient for people here.
Yes.
But now, if you go to Google and you look SUP instruction, you will see it all over the country. I think it's essential. If you were to when you learn this sport, like if you were to learn tennis or golf or skiing, there are some critical essentials at the beginning that matter. And this is that idea again of most people will teach themselves with their arms and shoulders, and then as they repeat it over and over again, that's what becomes their technique. And unfortunately, as you do that more and more, it gets a bit harder to learn how to do it properly. So just gripping the paddle correctly, keeping your arms straight and not bending them, right? Knowing that it's about using the whole body and not just standing what I call a statue with flapping arms, right? These are what people do naturally, intuitively, is actually counter to proper technique. So please go, if at all possible, at least one good fundamental class, better yet two. We have something called SUP 1, 2, 3. We've seen that it takes about 4.5 hours to bring people fully up to speed.
Great.
So, enjoy. This is all about, above all, it's fun. But to do more, to go from that calm pond or lake or that rental in Barbados to our river or to the ocean or to a race in Carolina, which there are all sorts of stand-up paddleboard races all over the country now. A little bit like skiing, where you can almost, those little badges and those little stars that you would get at different slopes and so forth. It's becoming a bit like that. There's
a destination activity.
Yeah, destination. One should also note that these boards can fold up. Some of them are inflatable. They can fold up into beautiful backpack styles with rollers on them, and they can go anywhere in the world.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. So can I hop on for a second?
Sure. Come on, Sarah.
See, give it a little whirl.
Here and here.
All right.
Good. And let's try that triangle pose. You're just holding it up there, and then side to side, foot to foot. So rail to rail.
Rail to rail.
Beautiful. And
I feel like I'm on the slopes.
Exactly. And eventually, what we do is we put less and less pressure on our companion here, and then we work it this way, and then eventually just take the whole paddle out in front like that squat I was showing you.
Like
and this
I'm learning to ski.
Exactly. And then if you can center yourself and come up and down while maintaining balance here, it's very similar to wobble boards and skiing and all of this, and you can actually make things up that are more specific to the sport in question. Yeah.
Got it. Well,
and then your stroke, you can grab the top of the paddle here.
Okay.
And then if you rotate forward a little bit like this, and you paddle through, come out by your feet and go back again to here. So you're gonna go reach for this area here.
Yeah.
Bring it out by the time it reaches your toes and start again. So it's always about getting the paddle up to the front rather than from behind. And as you can see, it's a little bit like chewing gum.
It is
and,
a little, there's a lot
and
to
talking
think
at the same
about.
time.
It's feet and arms and a lot of coordination, but I can definitely feel my core engaged and my quads as well. So I think this is going to be my new summer activity to get ready for the slopes.
Absolutely. And from a cardiovascular fitness standpoint, when you're doing it with the full body at full tilt, you're able to get heart rates all above or equal to cycling and running at higher levels. So I've done 4 or 5 hour races where I've had heart rates at 162 beats per minute for the entire time. And so this is a type of activity when you learn to engage everything, keep that rhythm going, it is a big time CV activity as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. If you have any questions, please add them in the comments below, and we'll get back to you either about Manhattan Kayak and SUP, the sport in general, Orsden, whatever. We're here for you, and we hope to see you out on the water this summer.